NFL Week 8, early bets, early leans, early things to monitor here as we head into the week. I already did guess the spread over on my TikTok page, and I think, guess the spread isn't gospel, but I always recommend it to people that want to take the NFL betting more seriously and say, well, it helps you at least what your assumption of two teams are, and then you can go from there. Because I always say, when you're betting a game, I go, what should the line be? And if you're like, I don't know, well, this is a good way to just, again, understand where you feel before you see the numbers and go, that's wrong, that's right, whatever. One of the things that I think is interesting about week 8 is we have some teams laying some big numbers, right? We have Baltimore's laying 10, Detroit's laying 11.5 to Tennessee, Kansas City's laying 9.5, 10 to Vegas, Denver's laying 7.5 to Carolina. And I'll just say, right, as we look at this, that favorites of 6 or more this season in the NFL, 7, 18, and 2 against the spread. And you just look, say, last 10 years, favorites of 6 or more, 479 and 508 with 29 pushes. That is a 48.5% clip, not a winning clip. So one of the things I think why that happens is, number one, you can't be up for every single game in the NFL. It's just impossible. The season's too long. So teams take off weeks, all that sort of stuff. They might win outright, but they don't cover that number. And one of the other things I think plays a role into that is, particularly this weekend, or week 8, you have some teams that are laying numbers coming off of big wins. For instance, Detroit. They come off a big win against Minnesota, divisional, highly emotional game. Now they're laying 11.5 to Tennessee. I know Tennessee sucks, but that line in May, okay, was Detroit -7. I know Tennessee sucks, but we've now adjusted that to 11.5. I can't stop betting Tennessee. I won't be betting Tennessee, but that's just a good barometer for the adjustments we make in season. With let's call it how it is. A season seven games in is not a large sample size. This ain't baseball. So just something to monitor there. I think early bet or early something that it will be a bet for me that you don't have to bet right away is I like Green Bay at Jacksonville. I made this spread 4. It opened around 5. It's now 4.5. Jacksonville continues to get sharp money every single week. It's the weirdest thing. And I was trying to chase Jacksonville as well earlier this season, but last week against New England was like the first time they didn't take a bunch of sharp money. If you look the week before when they played Chicago, they opened as a dog, closed as a favorite. I think of when they played the Bills, that spread opened like Bills -6.5, gets bet down to like 4.5. So I think you can wait on this. And even though I said that this spread should be 4, I think Green Bay is damn good. And I think Jacksonville, coming back from being in London for 2 weeks, I know they're used to this sort of thing. I think it could be a sense of a breather after beating New England. Like, oh, okay, like things are okay here. We're not going to fire Peterson quite yet. Is that really reality? I think that Jacksonville is a team that should not be taking a breath, and I think that they could be in this situation here. I think they're still kind of a dead man walking type of team. And I think Green Bay, look, no one cares, but like 2-3 weeks ago, took him 50 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, and I took Jordan Love 50 to 1 to win the MVP because I was really impressed the way Green Bay played without Jordan Love. And I think last week against Houston, it could have been a game that goes either way, but I really think that Green Bay has the ability to cover a number at Jacksonville, a team that I really think is still on the ropes despite kind of great, you beat New England. New England still sucks. Another game that I bet right away, if you can get it, I like it a lot. Atlanta +3 at Tampa Bay. I know Tampa Bay hasn't played Monday Night Football, but it's going to be a short week. Atlanta just got blown out by Seattle. And this line doesn't make sense to me because these two teams played 2-3 weeks ago. It was at Atlanta, and the line was Atlanta -2.5. Game goes into overtime. Atlanta ends up winning by 6. So if that spread was 2.5, Atlanta -2.5, that means on a neutral, Atlanta was about a point better than Tampa Bay. So, because home field's not 3. This isn't 2002. If you're new here, home field's not 3. No one thinks it's 3. It's about 1.5, 2. This can even be less than that. So let's just call Atlanta home field, right? 1.5. So it says Atlanta's a point better than Tampa Bay. Now Atlanta goes to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is laying 2.5, 3. So what it should be is if you now adjust for Tampa Bay's home field, Atlanta's a point better on a neutral. Give Tampa Bay, You can even give them 2 points for home field, which it's not. That gets you to Tampa Bay -1. No, this adjustment is insane to me. And no matter what happens on Monday Night Football, I really like Atlanta +3 here. If you can get it, 3 -110. And another reason why I like that is if you look at that game that Atlanta played Tampa Bay, Atlanta outgained Tampa Bay 550 to 330. Cousins threw for 477. So they, destroyed Tampa Bay in the stats department as well. That is just too much love, or too much. I think it's too much anti-Atlanta for me. I was looking. I know Kirk Cousins left that game, or not left the game, but had that injury to his face. And they eventually, Ben took the starters out because the game was out of hand. I just think it's too much of an adjustment. So Atlanta +3, if you can get it, that's one I really like. And another one that I would like is Seattle +3 against Buffalo. If you can get 3, -110. I see a couple still on the board. I made this line Buffalo -2.5. And one of the biggest reasons is Josh Allen as a favorite of 3 or more. Last 2.5 years, 11-16 and 1 against the spread. So Buffalo, it was funny. They were on this crazy streak up until the Baltimore game that Buffalo had not lost a game by 6 or more points in their last 43 games up until when they got blown out against Baltimore. Not that that really applies here, but I just think it's an interesting stat. Seattle getting 3 at home. I'm still really impressed by Seattle. And I think that Buffalo, there's kind of there's like an old theory in the NFL that any team that wins by, say, 17 plus, it's really just, you don't get extra points for a blowout like that. Like the game's over. You know what I mean? And so Buffalo's done that to Jacksonville. They just did that again to Tennessee. So you can't overreact. Buffalo doesn't start up 10 points against Seattle. The scoreboard resets everyone. So Seattle getting 3 at home. If you get -110 there, I really like that. So those are 3 bets off the bat. I'll give you a couple more things to monitor here. Tua sounds like he could be coming back this week. I think the books put that spread in the middle of Tua playing and not. I think it'd be about 5 with real Tua, full healthy Tua, 5.5. I think without Tua, we've seen he's about a 6-point adjustment. Also, too, Miami really can't play another quarterback because Huntley left that game. So I think that that's an interesting thing to monitor if you like Miami to come back there, or if you're like, hey, he's still not going to be himself. I like Arizona plus, if you're saying I like Arizona 3.5, there's 3.5s out there. I have no voice because I was in Austin, Texas this past weekend for that game, Georgia, Texas. So forgive me. Another thing I'll wrap up with as we look at this is Cincinnati is hosting Philadelphia, and Cincinnati -3, -2.5. I'm seeing here. Quite the statement for where Cincinnati was, right? This team was dead. They were done. What's wrong with them? Their defense is horrid. Now they're going to be a favorite to Philadelphia. The books are saying, look, Cincinnati is better than Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia's had problems of their own, but they looked better against the Giants. Again, Giants could be a corpse themselves. So what do you think of that adjustment to Cincinnati there? I feel I was kind of on the Cincinnati train. I was still betting them even when they were when everyone was counting them out. But now I feel like this could be going too much the other way. If I can get a Philadelphia +3 -110, I'd be interested in that. These have gone pretty well the last couple of weeks. So I think that those are some things that I'm really, really excited with. Also, another one that I had Minnesota and guess the spread at -4.5 at the Rams Thursday Night Football. It's 3. Minnesota's getting money. To me, I just don't really bet Thursday Night Football. I try my best not to bet Thursday Night Football because it's just too many things can happen. There's an old theory that on Thursday Night Football, the more talented team has a really significant advantage because you don't have a ton of time for game prep. It's just kind of roll the balls out and whoever's more talented wins the game. So if you like Minnesota to bounce back there and you're interested in betting Thursday Night Football, I'd grab Minnesota -3 while you can because it seems to be going in their direction. Other than that, like I said, those are the 3 games I'm looking at. You can wait on Green Bay. I'd bet Atlanta +3 right now. I'd bet Seattle +3 right now if you can get it. And Indianapolis, Indianapolis and Houston rather. I'll just say this. If Flacco is playing, I would love Indianapolis +6.5. but it looks like it's still going to be the Richardson show there. That's what I have week 8. Early leans, all this sort of stuff. Make sure you subscribe to Snapback Bets channel. It helps me. It helps our company. Even if you hate me, just be like, hey, I'm subscribed, and then, never look at this guy because I can't stand him. So that's week 8. Early bets, early leans. Hope you enjoy your NFL week 8. Did I say 6? I say 8. I don't know. My brain is absolutely a mess from being in Texas Hook'em, even though they suck.